welcome back, everybody, to my last brain cell. Yo, happy Saturday, y'all. I hope your weekend is fun. My weekend is gonna be crazy. Seeing my lady today, and we're gonna go see JJK. I am so looking forward to this, y'all. You have no idea. I won't be able to talk about it until we meet again in a couple of weeks. But I will be sure because I pre-record, right? Especially because I try to record at least a week in advance. Uh, I will be able to talk about it with like a fresh memory. So don't worry, you'll get my recap and how I felt about it soon. But some quick housekeeping, you feel me? Um, we are almost done with Gone Girl for Sip Read Repeat. We are gonna be done with it before the new year. And I'm really excited for that because it works out to the plan I had in my mind when I first started reading Gone Girl. And I was concerned I wasn't gonna reach that, but then double checking the page and stuff, I realized the book ends at a certain page and then there's a bunch of extras afterwards. So we'll be done with the book before the end of the year. And that makes me really excited. And I think I'll be able to tackle some of the extras. But if not, that's fine. I have other plans for the new year. That's step one, or that's one. Two, expect another change for the My Last Brain Cell podcast. Now, earlier this year, for episode 100, we introduced Sip, Read, Repeat, and then shortly after, we debuted Clandestine Cuisine with episode 0, if you would, in Houston, Texas, before we took our talents out to the Buffalo/Western New York area. Now, the podcast itself is going to go through a change. I won't tell you what that change is, but it just so happens that one of my episodes drops on the new year. And because of that, I was going to wait until like the first full week of the new year to make this change. But because it just works out timing wise that my episode will be out on the new year, I'll make that change then. So you guys will see it. It'll be very noticeable. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll help me too in the long run. I think it's to be seen. You feel me? It's TBA or TBD, to be determined. But we'll see. We'll see what comes of that. Anyway, that's enough yapping out of me. I'll be honest. I don't have a question of the day today. I was gonna try to think of one as I was sitting here, but I truthfully just don't have one. And it's really because I'm super stoked to talk to you guys about The Wire. And this time I took notes. I took notes because I wanted to make sure I got everything pertinent that needed to be talked about, okay? So first I want to go over some of the overall things. Now, I said to you guys before, I've been giving each one a theme, right? Season 1 was McNulty's Revenge. Season 2 was about the docks. Season 3 was war. Season 4, it's about the kids, man. It's about the kids, and I think it's really just about evolution. Like you nature versus nurture. You feel me? Because one of the things that I noticed in season 1 or season 4, the polarity between Michael's character and Naaman's character. Naaman always trying to act tough. Michael is actually tough. Like unfortunately, he has heart. You feel me? Naaman does not, despite his dad being Weebay, which was a crazy revelation for me. I thought the kids was just going to be just random kids because of how the season was setting up. But no, for Naaman to be Weebay seed was actually nuts. So I wrote down some overalls, just so I made sure I mentioned them before getting into the recap. Naaman's mom's a whole bitch. Naaman's mom's is a whole bitch. I despised her. And, you know, it's disturbing to think that there are people out there who are like that. There are parents out there who would actively want their child to get into this lifestyle because they're accustomed to the affordability of this lifestyle. Get the fuck out of here. His mom's a whole bitch. Marlo is not to be played with. That nigga is too conniving and he's too locked in. Like, he's not like Avon. I feel like Avon had the game twisted because he thought he was untouchable. Marlo makes himself untouchable. He just makes it like Avon had a previous cred. You feel me? Marlo came in like, I'm not the one to be trifled with. Yeah. Big focus on the kids. Omar was giving me death flags all season long. Spoiler alert, he did not die. But all season long, Omar was giving me death flags. I thought Mar was gonna put an end to that boy. Yeah. Snoop funny as hell. I really liked their character. She was really funny, and her Baltimore accent was insane. Insane. Yeah, Snoop, my favorite character. Yeah, so let's get into it. All right, boom. So season 4 is really about like trying to understand what makes kids become street corner kids, and also it's the ramping up of Marlo as a kingpin. You feel me? And trying to be the drug lord, I feel like, of Baltimore, and trying to establish himself as like he's the only one, right? Because there was one episode where he had rolled by all the kids on the stoop. So it's Naaman, Donut, Michael, Ducky, and Randy, and probably some other kids too. But those are the main 5 names that I remember because they were the most active as far as the kids go. They were all sitting on the stoop, and Marlo people pulled up and gave him money for back to school clothes. You feel me? Trying to make sure he establishes that like, yo, I got y'all. Like, you don't need to worry about no one else. Avon Barksdale, he dead. You feel me? It's just Marlo. Fuck everyone else on this street. It's me. You feel me? But the season starts off. His little homie Snoop go get a nail gun. And I didn't understand the significance of the nail gun until a little bit later. And obviously, we'll get into that too, right? So, one of the more interesting things too that leads to some shenanigans is the fact that you get all the subpoenas going out to all the political figures that they found money on way back in season 1, I think, that got stopped because they were like, disband this, because niggas realized the politicians was being shady, right? And politics is also maybe this season should be about politics. The theme of this season really is about politicking, period. You feel me? Because yeah, everyone had to speak their piece to get what they wanted, whether it was the actual politics happening in the background with the mayoral run, or you had Prop Joe politicking with Omar, politicking with Marlo. Like, I think I want to change my answer to it. It was really about politics. Like, shit, Cuddy got shot trying to politic with my nigga fucking Michael, trying to get him back. You feel me? So it's political games was so crazy in this season. There was so much shit, right? So how it all starts off, right? Bodie, one of his boys, talking in the corner. His boy Lex talking about, yo, his baby mama fucking with someone else. Blah blah blah. He gonna go figure this out. Lex go shoot a nigga. Go shoot the nigga cold blooded, dead of night, and say, yo, what's up, Patrice's baby moms, right? So then this cascades into involving one of the kids, because now Marlo's like, we gotta get back. I gotta get my get back, right? So he sends someone to go grab Lex to tell him to go meet his baby mom somewhere. Lil Kev decides to delegate that shit to a kid, Randy, right? Randy's a little hustler. He got his little candy business going on, which I can admire. I was doing the same exact shit in 8th grade. I think it started in 8th and went through high school. It might have started in 7th and went through high school, but I had soda. What my mom and I would do, we would buy the 12 counts of soda, because you used to get them for like 3 for $10, right? So we get 3 or like 6 packs of soda for $20, right? So that's 72 cans. Freeze them overnight, and then in the morning I would take them out my bag, or take them out the freezer, put it in my bag. I would have like Airheads and bring them to school. You would get an ice cold soda, because by the time I was able to sell it, it kind of thawed out. You feel me? So you're able to get ice cold soda, $1. Way better than the $1 you're gonna spend on just a cold drink. You feel me? And I had soda. They just had juice at the school. You feel me? And Airheads was for $1. 150 cents or $4. Come on, bro. Airheads was pretty cheap too. We used to go to BJ's and get them shits in bulk. But anyway, I digress. So he was a young hustler. So Lil Kev wrote up on him like he bounced. He said, "Yo, go tell Lex that, right?" So Lex gets boomed, right? But before Lex got boomed, you get a sneak peek into the booming process because Marlo's right hand, Snoop and Chris, or Marlo's right hand, Chris, and his soldier Snoop, they go into the vacant cribs. They pull the boards off, pop someone quick, important. It's always one shot to the head, boom. Chris makes it a note. You know I make it quick, bro. I'm not trying to make you suffer, but you gotta go. You feel me? Put one in the head. I think they dump like lime on them, like Lyme. I think that's what it is. Drop that on them, and then they board up the houses, right? Because Snoop went to go get a new nail gun because the nail gun they were using originally was inefficient. So he got like a bunch of knowledge. That scene was mad funny. It was a funny ass way to open the season, like with Snoop in the Home Depot. So Snoop got this nail gun, this powerful ass nail gun to nail up the things, right? So Lex died, and then it sparks a bunch of stuff because the cops are looking for Lex because they know Lex did the murder, but they don't know Lex is dead, right? The streets know. The streets don't talk to the cops. So now the kid Randy, he's scared because he's like, yo, I sent Lex to his death, basically, right? All right, so this didn't really turn out to be much of anything because of how this season shakes out, but one of the other funny things, yo, why did Herc, the bald white cop, he happened to be on the mayor's detail trying to get like sergeant because he has like the rank, but they didn't give him, like he passed the test, but he didn't get the rank, I think because of like what's on his jacket. Why did he walk in on the mayor getting his dick sucked by his secretary? And I remember watching this episode, secretary walked up on him, he's getting ready to go somewhere, the mayor, right? She walks up on him, gives him a note. He's like, now handle it later. The way she looked at him, I was like, they must be fucking. They must be fucking. Lo and behold, she at least sucking. So anyway, yeah, so that sparks a whole bunch of shit, which leads Herc going back to major crimes. Okay. They decide, I already talked about that. I figured out the character who did the iconic she. Clay Davis finally met his ass and really met him, seeing him do that. Omar showed back up, and now this is where things I think really start to bubble because so politics, right? Prop Joe's trying to get Marlo into his co-op, right? Because Marlo, like I said, trying to establish that he's the one. He's not fucking with nobody else. You feel me? He's Don Dada. So Prop Joe knows where Marlo go play cards at. Prop Joe sent Omar there. Omar don't know who Marlo is. So he ends up robbing him. He ends up robbing him. And Marlo obviously is hot now because he's like, yo, we gotta get my get back. Marlo was all about the get back, which pisses off everybody because, not everybody, it pisses off Bodie at the end because he's like, yo, he's just dropping bodies to drop bodies. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to his body. He's just dropping it because he fucking feels like it. And that's really the biggest problem, I think, too, with Marlo is that, like, he's just killing niggas to kill niggas. Like, I don't even think Avon was that violent. And Marlo has so many bodies, bro. So many bodies. We'll get to that. So, Prez is a school teacher, right? So remember the old cop. He's a school teacher now. He's a teacher to a lot of these kids. And a lot of these kids is super violent and like they're corner kids. They're the kids who want to be in this lifestyle. You feel me? You know, one of the kids got $150. And if you don't know what a $150 is, count your blessings, I guess. But a $150 is when someone gets cut across the cheek. Now, I've never experienced a $150 giving or receiving, but I've watched, and that's probably, it has to be horrific pain. I've never cut my face. Like, I cut my face shaving once before, but like I've never had my face cut. So I can only imagine what it's like to have a razor blade taken to the meat of your face. That has to be painful. It just sounds like anyway, that poor girl. Anyway, but they want to take some of these. So Colvin, the cop from Amsterdam, meets up with someone else, some dude who wants to investigate the school to figure out why kids turn out the way they do. Yeah. There's more corruption in the police force because they want to purposefully slow down major crimes because the politicians is like, we can't afford to have our money trails looked into. So that comes to a head. Bodie joins Marlo's payroll. McNulty shows up, and that nigga is super chill and responsible. Like, all of a sudden, he's a complete different person. He's happy with Beatty. He's living his life, and it's actually crazy to see, right? So, ba 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 ba. All right, so Randy is having like an existential crisis because he's learned that Lex was killed due to his actions, right? And the kids are talking about like, yo, nah, they're trying to figure out. The kids think that everyone that Marlo takes are zombies. Talking about they're the Walking Dead and shit. They're zombies, right? But that's not the case. They're just being murdered. And one of the kids, Ducky, poor kid, man, I feel bad for him. But Ducky, he ends up telling him like, yo, like, he's dumping them in the vacants, bro. What are you talking about? Like, I seen it. So all the kids go there and seen the bodies, and that shit was crazy. So Randy's losing his mind, right? And why is that important? Because at one point, these nasty 8th grade motherfuckers, two dudes, go into the bathroom with the girl, right? And they pay Randy $5 to go just to be a lookout, right? The next day at school, the two dudes ignore the girl, and then you get a scene later on where she's in the principal office crying with her mother, or maybe another teacher. I'm not 100% certain. And it was in that moment that I obviously realized, oh, she told them that they raped her, right? I don't want to say, now, obviously they didn't rape her because I assume that she went in there willingly, but she said that they raped her, right? Which causes Randy to get pulled into the office as well because he was an NFI party. He's like, I didn't touch the girl. I just stood out there. So in order to avoid having his stepmom be told about this situation, he says he knows about a murder. So then it opens up a whole can of worms. My poor man, Randy, bro, they label him a snitch. They end up fucking, I'm pretty sure they killed his stepmoms. They throw Molotov. So because he got labeled a snitch, Marlo gets word of that, right? So they don't want to kill a kid, but they're like, yo, put the real on the streets. So a lot of the kids hear about this because they're obviously connected to the streets, and they start fucking with him. And they try to get his friends to stop being his friend. So at one point, there's a fight in front of the school because they called him a snitch, and his boy Micah was there to help him out. And then they put police detail on him, right? The kids fake a cop call for police detail to dip, and they Molotov cocktail his crib. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Like, my jaw was on the floor. That was the most shocking shit. And like, we seen people get shot. There's been a bunch of crazy shit, but Molotov cocktails? That's a war item. What are we talking about? That shit was crazy. So yeah, so she suffers horrendous burns, and I'm pretty sure she succumbs to them. But I'm not 100% certain. But he has to go back into the system. He's able to snitch. Yeah, poor Randy, bro. But so that all cycles because of that, right? So now, because Omar has joined, or because Omar robbed Marlo, he went to Prop Joe, like, yo, I'm gonna join y'all little joint, right? So now the cops are trying to watch Marlo. The cops are major crimes. And because the new lieutenant is not about nothing, Herc is like, I'm gonna take measures into my own hands. So he puts a camera where he hears that Marlo is usually chilling at. Why this backfires is because Marlo has people watching the spot and they see the cop leave something. So Marlo sets the cops up, and he has Herc go on a wild goose chase, and it leads to a bunch of blowback on Herc, right? So I was trying to figure out when McNulty would become relevant more, and it happens. So once Marlo hears that Omar is the one that robbed him, he's like, yo, Omar hard to catch, so we're gonna figure out a way to get him caught. So Marlo had earlier robbed a re-up spot, and so Marlo sent his right hand Chris, he sent Snoop, and they popped the civilian, beat the owner of the store and said, make sure you said Marlo did it. Now, or make sure Omar did it. Now, that man also works for Marlo. Very important. So, because Omar gets accused, McNulty's like, nah, that can't be right. Like, and he figures out a way to free Omar. And Omar ends up surviving the season. He gets his get back because he realized, oh, Pop Joe, you set me up. You knew that was Marlo, yeah? Okay, I see what's going on. Say no more. He finesses, and Omar remains that nigga. Told on Lex. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, did that already. And you know what? Prez is actually a really good teacher. I thought he'd be more of a dickhead, but he was way more sympathetic, way more caring, way more engaging than I thought he would be. Props to that man. There's this dickhead cop that I wanted to get popped the entire time. I wanted him, or at least to get fucked up. Refused to remember his name. So he had robbed Randy way back in the beginning of the season because Donut had stole a car. This is right after Marlo pulled up on all the kids and gave them money, right? Donut pulled up in a car. All the kids hop in. Cop sees him, calls it in. The kids scatter. Randy ends up getting caught by this dickhead cop. He checks his pockets, takes the money that Marlo gave him, accuses him of slinging. He's like, nah, my stepmoms gave it to me. He goes, word? Word? Have her come down and get it. So he also then robbed Omar at one point. And this is when Omar got arrested. Omar had Marlo's ring. And Omar took it, or the cop took it off of Omar when they arrested him. And then he robbed Bubbles. Why would you rob Bubbles, bro? Of all people, Bubbles? Bubbles was getting fucked up this entire season, man. He had this young kid, Sherrod, with him. It was so sad. He had a young kid, Sherrod, and he took in trying to help him. Then he was like, yo, Sherrod, you gonna go to school? He's like, I ain't been to school in years. He said, word? Got that man enrolled in school. Sherrod just refused to go to school, bro. Try to finesse Bubbles. He brought a dictionary and some other book to the crib, talking about, I gotta read this book to answer questions in this book. And Bubbles is obviously competent enough to know how to read. So he's like, word? Okay. Obviously that wasn't right. So anyway, yeah, that ends up being a shitstorm. Yeah, man, it was crazy. And then Sherrod leaves. Sherrod ends up going to, like, joining the streets to sling drugs. And some man runs up on him, pressing Sherrod, like, yo, he said, Sherrod said he was sure. He's like, yo, I ain't got it. So he pulls up on him, and Bubbles is like, yo, man, like, yo, you shouldn't be doing this. And the guy's like, yo, listen, I'm trying to buy. He goes, nah, I'm sorry, man, let me talk to him. Beats the shit out of Bubbles. Takes the money, takes Bubbles' money and his drugs, and walks off. Sherrod leaves, right? So Bubbles then gets attacked by this guy every chance he gets. Bubbles tries to get the cops to help. They let him down. So Bubbles tries to resort to other methods. Now, at one point, Sherrod comes back because he realizes Tree Life is not for him, to try to get him to kill Naaman because Naaman was on someone's corner. Realizes Tree Life is not for him. He goes back to live with Bubbles. Now, Bubbles is also trying to figure out how to deal with this dude because he's like, yo, the cops who I fuck with, they ain't helping me, so I don't know what to do. So I'm trying to build a hot shot, and the hot shot is like, spiking the drugs. He ends up spiking them drugs. He goes to bed. Next morning, he wakes up. Sherrod took him. Sherrod dead. Bubbles goes to turn himself in. Cops ain't really listening to him. He throws up. They leave the room to go like clean themselves up. Tries to hang himself. I feel so bad for Bubbles, but I hope that this turns around. Bubbles does remain sober, at least through season 5, right? He did, but I'm not gonna talk about that. Donut stole a car again at one point. Dickhead cop broke his fingers, bro. I was like, come on, bro. We gotta figure something out. So now a bunch of stuff happens, right? And because Herc wants his camera from Marlo after he realizes Marlo was fucking with him, Marlo takes the camera, makes it disappear. Herc starts fucking with Marlo's people. He pulls over Chris and Snoop, who have a nail gun, right? He can't figure out the significance of it. But on the other side, some of the other homicide cops are really trying to figure out what the fuck happened to Lex. And they can't figure out significance. And someone dropped a very important piece of information that should have gone to Bunk because he was tight. That Bunk was reopening the murder case. But anyway, they figure out that how they figure out some connections between who killed Lex, and that Lex is dead, right? They figure that out, and they pull little Kevin, right? So little Kevin gets pulled, and he leaves. He's like, nah. He figures out, oh, Randy's the one that told him, which is why Randy gets labeled a snitch, right? So, but little Kevin's like, nah, I didn't say nothing, right? Marlo don't believe him. Marlo ended up killing little Kevin. Now, the nail gun thing sits in Lester's head, my boy Lester Freeman, and he figures out, yo, it must have been that nail gun they were using, because all these houses have these type of nails. There's bodies in all those houses. I think they found like 17 to 20 bodies, bro. Bodie finds out that Marlo killed little Kevin. It was over, bro. It was over. Yeah, Bodie is tight now. Now, I don't remember why Bodie got arrested, but McNulty springs him. And McNulty trying to get him like, yo, man, flip on Marlo. He said, say less, bro. Marlo gotta go. Someone catch wind that Bodie was talking to the police. They pull up on him. Bodie gets shot, bro. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe Bodie got shot. So one of the little kids, Michael, right? I'm jumping all over and I know it. One of the little kids, Michael, like I said, he goes from a little bit more meek to being a gangster, right? Whereas his friend Naaman, who's Lee-Bait's kid, has the exact opposite, because Naaman's kid gets pulled into one of those special classes for the kids who are aggressive with Colvin, and Colvin shows him some love and shows him what he can be. Colvin even goes talks to his pops like, yo, Lee-Bait, bro, get your son out this life. Lee-Bait said, nah, bro, I hear you. So Marlo ends up taking a liking to Michael, because when they was giving the money out, Michael was the only one who didn't take it, right? So he takes a liking to him. Michael was obviously raped by his little brother's dad. His little brother's dad ends up coming back into his life, and he's scared. He doesn't know what to do. So he goes to Marlo's people and says, listen, I need you to take care of this man for me. I need you to take care of this man for me. And he won't tell him why. He's like, I need you to do it. And Chris figures out why. He goes, Bodie, say less. We'll do it. They go to kill this man. Like I told y'all, Chris has made it known. Every person they killed, I'll make it quick, I promise. I promise I'll make it quick. He beat the ever-loving shit out this man. I couldn't believe it. Even Snoop was standing there scared, bro. Like, that shit was crazy. He did not make that quick at all, right? So cops figure out where Marlo's hiding the bodies. They end up pulling them. Yeah, man. And then now it's to a point where it's like, okay, now we have to connect the bodies to Marlo. We found them. We know what they're doing, but we have to now connect them to Marlo. So it seems like season 5 is going to try to be the downfall of Marlo. I'm sure I missed a bunch of stuff, relevant things. Michael caught a body at the end of the season for Marlo. They wanted Michael to go kill Bodie, but they were like, nah, he knows him. We need someone who don't. So they ended up getting the drop on him, but Michael caught a body, so the nigga really part of their life now. But anyway, that's my entire episode. That's my recap of season 4. I think it's my favorite season so far because of the shift, watching the kids, watching the dichotomy between, or the parallels between Michael and Naaman, and just everything that happened. I think that this is my favorite season so far. But let me know if you think I missed anything pertinent in the comments. Like, comment, share, subscribe. That's all I got for you. So until next time, y'all, enjoy your weekend and enjoy the first full week of December. This is King Echo, signing off.